I wanted to share with you my story of Mondo, my anti-hero. He's a middle-aged henchman living in the James Bond universe. Mondo grew up in a small town in Texas. Began wrestling as a teenager with the neighbor kids Bob and Jim down the street. They actually wrestled for money at fairs and carnivals in their teenage years. But as Mondo grew older, he wanted to go to Hollywood to be a stuntman. He did really well in Hollywood. He was in a lot of movies as a stuntman. And on the side, he got hired as a bodyguard for a lot of rich and famous people and politicians and people you've never even heard of. And that is how he got into becoming a henchman. Of course, he didn't become a henchman right away. He had to save a couple lives and slowly move up the chain so that the richest and most affluent people actually wanted to hire him in particular. He gained people's trust pretty quickly, and at a young age, he moved up the ranks and started working for Dr. No. I'm sure he was sent to guard something, and then James Bond comes in and shoots all the other henchmen around him, and then that's over with, so they recoup, and then he moves to the next level, and then same thing happens again, and they recoup, and now he's like right there. He's close, like almost a right-hand man. See, Mondo always starts out as like the last henchman that is hired by these villains before their demise. And as each other henchman is taken out, Mondo rises slowly through the ranks. And pretty soon, he is the right-hand man to the villain. Except the problem is, that is about the time the villain is defeated. And actually, Mondo literally could just have taken over and been in charge. But nope, he's out of a job again and now has to move on and find some more work. And he's back out there again looking for somebody else to hire him, and then another bad guy picks him up. So, this keeps happening to Mondo, and many bosses lost to James Bond over time. He's starting to realize that these people are pretty dumb, and he's starting to devise his own way in his head of taking over. I mean, he's in his late 40s now, and he's amassed a small fortune of money from his many henchman experiences of being the last one alive. Maybe he's tired of being the henchman and he wants to be the villain. The villain. He is going to do something grand so he can take over the world. And what does Mondo do? Mondo devises a plan. He calls it the Apocalypse Contract. And he takes his contract around to all the governments and several large corporations. So in case of ever a major war or something, like a meteor hits or something, just major flood. I believe the word I'm looking for is catastrophe. Something like that happens. The contract kicks in, and Mondo's companies come in, and they help save the government. And they provide security, they provide food, they provide water, they provide shelter, whatever you need, Mondo has for his apocalyptic contract. With these contracts, Mondo basically has the highest clearance in the governments, that he has petitioned for them to sign these contracts. So Mondo does now have great power with these contracts, but he's our anti-hero in the story, so he's not going to be a villain. And there sure will be a villain somewhere in this story. But I just wanted to introduce to you Mondo, my middle-aged henchman.